Welcome to my short presentation on the digital divide, focusing on internet access for all, as narrated by me, Nicholas Andrews. The digital divide is social issues referring to access between different groups and demographics of people. Uh, Especially in education, technology has been integrated and incorporated more and more into classrooms. Within education, it really refers to students that have quality internet access and devices to use, and those students that do not. It can also refer to the differences of these subgroups and whether teachers are using technology and devices and internet to promote critical thinking skills and higher order thinking between different socioeconomic groups. Um, or is the technology and the internet access being used to replace or substitute for paper and pencil, doing the same tasks but just doing it electronically rather than doing it through traditional means? An important issue I would like to focus my presentation on is internet access. It used to be thought that internet and accessibility to the internet was a luxury in education. It was something that was cool that you could use, but is becoming and quickly becoming a necessity for all students to have. But this raises the issue that students, especially students from low socioeconomic backgrounds, may not have quality internet access or any access at home. So, although integration of technology is great to promote and increase student achievement within many groups, it is also widening the achievement gap between students with and without technology, or with and without quality internet access, mainly focusing on broadband internet, in that although you may have internet, it may not work to load videos or to complete different tasks assigned to students. Some data just to support and show what I mean by this. According to an article entitled "How Digital Equity Can Help Close the Homework Gap," says that 75% of teachers assign homework or tasks that requires the internet. And this really puts students without this internet access and quality internet access at home at a disadvantage. Furthermore, within the same article, they used a survey saying that 82% of school districts do not have plans in motion to offer internet access to all students outside of school. And so if we can't give students technology, how are they supposed to be completing these tasks or requirements at home for the class? Some solutions that I've come across to solve the issue of supplying students with internet access at home include some of the following, which have been implemented across different school districts and schools across the country. Like my school, some schools are working with internet providers to offer low-cost home internet access to qualifying families. These qualifying families usually refer to free and reduced lunch students, offering internet access from major providers for sometimes $10 to $12. Speaking from personal experience, my school district does offer a similar program, not only to qualifying families, but to all families that require internet access. Other things that I've come across in my studying and my research is that many schools are also mapping locations offering free internet access, such as libraries, coffee shops, and fast food restaurants. Again, from personal experience, the local Panera has free internet, and many of the students have been found there working in groups or using the internet to complete assignments. However, it still brings to the issue that traveling to these locations can be tough. The location I'm speaking of requires to drive there and is not accessible to different communities by walking or biking or traveling by those means. One of the more interesting solutions that schools have been coming up with is connecting school buses with Wi-Fi capability allowing students to access the internet on those school buses uh, on long drives to and from school. In particular, one school district in California is actually parking these buses in locations with a high density of students from low income families to provide those students with internet access in that neighborhood. So if students need to access the internet, they can go sit at home, and hopefully the bus is close enough so they can access the internet and use the internet when needed. Another big part of this is the creation of free internet locations across different subsidized housing buildings or different communities to allow students to go to these locations and use the internet for different sources. In conclusion, kind of as a short presentation, that technology and internet access cannot be taken for granted when you start incorporating technology into the educational process. Educational institutions must offer adequate plans to offer all students with quality internet access. And finally, failing to provide quality internet access will continue to decrease the achievement gap between student subgroups, particularly those coming from low socioeconomic families. Thank you for this short presentation.